Welcome to Women's Let's Talk. I'm Yvonne. Each week I will be coming to you by way of Facebook to talk on topics that I hope would be helpful to us as women. I do encourage your feedback. I welcome your comments and questions. I ask ladies that you feel free to inbox me your questions directly, by message on the Facebook page. And as far as your comments, I want you to post your comments um, to directly to the video post at the end of each session. And what I will do regarding your questions is in the next session, I'll present those questions and answer your questions accordingly. Right now, for the next few minutes, I'd like to talk on the subject of self care. Just when is it our turn? This message may not be for every woman, but I do pray that we can all learn something from it. Well, ladies, the verdict is in, and we have all been found guilty of spending far too much of our time fulfilling the requests and meeting the demands of others, and not enough time in caring for ourselves. Yes, the verdict is in, and we are guilty. We are guilty of always putting the needs of others before our own. Now, I want you to understand that I'm not saying that we as women are not to attend to the needs of others, because we all know that when it comes to family, for those who have spouses, you may have young children, even teenage children. You have aged parents, because our parents indeed are living longer, and we even have grandparents. We know that looking after their needs and honoring their requests will primarily come before our own. What it is that I'm talking about is this constant yes that we have a tendency to always give when request is being asked of us. Whether it's in the home, on the job, whether it's a community organization that you may be a member of, whether it's in relationships or your friendships, it's always yes and hardly ever no. I'm talking about always running around as the superwoman trying to make everybody's day. Ladies, we are three-part beings. We are spirit, we are body, and we are emotions. And we must take care of all three. Now, living the balanced life is really the key to taking care of ourselves. It requires balance in our personal, in our commitments to others. We just have to balance things. And most often, if we were to ask ourselves, we will all find that at some point, if not now, we're living imbalanced lives. We must take time to rest. We cannot continue allowing the demands of other people and the responsibilities of life just keep us on a treadmill of being an unhealthy and neglected self. We must take time for ourselves in order to function at our highest levels. Now, I want you to understand that acting in your own best interest, it isn't selfish, and I don't care what you've been told. Acting in your own best interest isn't selfish. It's something that is required of us. In fact, it's the only way to truly honor your soul. When you decide to make your self care a priority, you're going to disappoint some people. You might have some that's going to become angry with you because of the new decisions and choices that you're now making. You're going to meet some resistance, maybe even some resentment when that announcement goes out that you are no longer going to spend countless number of hours of your time doing for others what they can and should be doing for themselves. Ladies, when we make a conscious decision to honoring our needs in a serious way, the tables will turn. Now, for a moment, I just want to share with you 5 self practices that we can do to help transform our lives for balanced living. I've had to do this at a point in my life, and it has made a tremendous difference. And yes, there were people that didn't understand because it was sudden change in my decisions and choices. And people have a tendency to get used to you always being there and doing so many things that we know that people can do for themselves. But I suppose it gives us a mix of a good feeling, or it makes us feel important when we're just always stepping up to the plate and helping out, doing something. And sometimes we really just need to let maybe someone else do it, or individuals can really do it themselves. But if we're constantly saying yes and never no, then they know that we will always be at their beck and call. Now for the 5 self care practices. First off, set limits. Have some boundaries and set limits to the things that you will and will not do for others, especially things that they're well able to do for themselves. Secondly, tell the truth. Be gracious, but yet be direct, without apology, with your decision. Avoid wishy washy language. Don't toggle back and forth with your decision of maybe I should or maybe I shouldn't. Rest with your decision. Be comfortable with your decision. Be sure of your decision and stick with your decision. Fourthly, don't open up your decisions for debate. There's really nothing to talk about once your decision is made. You must be strong enough to stand by it. Fifthly, don't be afraid to say no. And I'm referring to that absolute no. Resist the urge to explain or justify your position. When you say no to a request that just doesn't work for you, your needs alone are more than enough reason to decline doing anything out of a sense of guilt, a sense of fear, or a sense of obligation. You may need to sit and give some thought to the things that you will need to say no to. And I suggest that you create a no list. We do the daily to do list. How about a no list? And keep yourself mindful of the list. Your list might include some aspects of your life that frustrate you, drain your energy, or leave you bored and irritable. But do the no list and stick with it, and you'll see tremendous change. Now, in conclusion, I ask that you please feel free to inbox me your questions and post any comments at the end of the video session directly to the Facebook page. In the next session, we're going to talk more about these 5 practices of self-care that can lead us to a more balanced living. I ask that you give these 5 practices some thought. You can play the video over and over at your leisure in your own private space. And when we come back on next week, prayerfully I'll be able to share questions that were asked, and I'll have those responses for the listening audience. And we're going to take our time in actually covering the practices. We may do 1 or 2 practices in a session, but we're just going to take our time in going through this. And I truly do pray that this teaching will be a blessing to all of us as women. So until the next time, here's to a cup of joy for you.